One, two, three, four. Through the chaos, broken from the start. Everybody searching for something in the dark. We tried to fill the silence with everything we could, but nothing ever fixed it, nothing ever stood. Then a voice cut through the noise. I love the world and never stay. God so loved the world, He gave His only Son, so whoever believes in Him won't be undone. No more fear of the grave, no more running from the light. Through the cross we're alive, yeah, we're alive tonight. This love won't fade away. Forever we are saved. We were lost in the static, running from the truth, but grace came crashing in like a lightning bolt of proof. Not a love we could earn, not a love we deserve, but the kind that saves the world with just one word. He didn't come to condemn us, He came to set us free. God so loved the world, He gave His only Son, so whoever believes in Him won't be undone. No more chains on the hearts, no more shadows in the night. Through the cross we're alive, yeah, we're alive tonight. This love won't fade away. Forever we are saved. Not condemned, not alone. Grace has called us home. Through the cross, through the pain, love has broke the chain. For God so loved the world. For God so loved the world. Gave His only Son. Gave His only Son. Whoever believes, whoever believes. God so loved the world, He gave His only Son, so whoever believes in Him has already won. Death lost its hold when the storm rolled away. Through the cross we're alive, yeah, we're alive today. This love won't fade away. Forever we are saved. Alive, alive, because it's on 360.
What's poppin', chat? Let's get into it.
Possibly what she saw and what she is still in UK. And
Just felt relief.
this story comes from one of my viewers that lives in the UK, and she really wants your all's help describing possibly what she saw and what she is still encountering because of this to this day. She says to this day, because of her experience out in the Appalachian Mountains, she's unable to leave her home. She's been diagnosed with mental illnesses. So please take a listen and let me know your thoughts in the comments. Cassie and her boyfriend, again, were living in the UK, but they wanted to take a trip to Nashville in Tennessee. They were in Nashville, they had a great time, but they still had a week of their vacation left, so they decided they would get some camping gear and drive up to the Appalachian Mountains of East Tennessee to go camping. So they got their gear all loaded up in the car, and then they found a place to stop with a trail that they decided they were going to walk up with all their camping gear and find a place to camp for the night. Said it was absolutely beautiful, taking in all of the scenery. But then all of a sudden, as they were walking, she kind of heard some footsteps behind her, like they were being followed. Her and her boyfriend turn around,
Bigfoot.
they don't see anything, and her boyfriend's like, it could be squirrels, it could be animals, whatever. Let's just keep going. So they keep going, and they find a little place to stop, where she had a bottle of champagne in her backpack, and they were just going to have a glass of champagne and kind of cheers to their, adventures. She said as they were sitting there, things started to feel really different than it had in the beginning of the trail. She said she felt just kind of overwhelmingly odd. She said something just did not feel right, and they continued to hear these footsteps out in the mountains, but they couldn't see anything. Said it oddly sounded like human footsteps, and her boyfriend was like, well, there could be some homeless people living out here or something. You just never know. He was just kept trying to make excuses for these odd noises and this odd feeling that they both had. He was like, I don't know, I just don't feel right. Let's just keep walking and find a place to camp. She said the whole time they were walking to find a place to camp, though, she felt like she was being followed and like she was being watched. Find a place to set up camp. They set up for the night. They go into their tents for the evening. And she said she woke up and she remembers it was exactly 3:03 on her phone because she heard footsteps around the tent site. Again, thinking it was an animal or something, her partner unzipped the tent, looked out, and immediately goes, oh my God. She looks out and she says she sees this very tall, and it's a dark figure, very tall, dark figure, hunched over. And she said its arms were super, super long and touched the ground, like its fingers touched the ground. Then she said it had these almost white, hazy eyes. She said she immediately was just frozen in fear and panic. They zipped the tent back up, and she said she was hysterically crying and screaming because what she saw was just something out of a nightmare. Continued to hear the footsteps around the tent, and her boyfriend was like, as soon as this thing's gone, we are bolting it for the car. She said they continued to hear it, and she continued to just have this panic until the sun came up. Once the sun came up and the footsteps stopped, they bolted to the car and immediately left. Once they got back to the UK, that was only the beginning of Cassie's nightmare, as her life for the last 10 years has been absolutely ruined. She said because of her deep depression that she fell into because of this incident, her and her boyfriend broke up. Like I said, she's not able to leave the house unless it's just to go to the grocery store. She has terrifying, terrifying nightmares that keep her up, and she says she's unable to go to sleep until after 3:03 a.m., which is exactly the time that she saw this creature out in the woods. She has seen a psychiatrist, and she has been diagnosed with PTSD, depression, anxiety, and at one point was even diagnosed with schizophrenia. She said they put her on medication for schizophrenia because of these things that she would see in her dreams and visions, and the pills did not work, so she quit taking them. When she found my page, she said that she did have some comfort in knowing that she is not alone in her experiences in Appalachia, which is why she wanted to share her experience, because in a way it's almost therapeutic to her. However, she did say that she's trying to find, other outlets of joy. She says she enjoys makeup, so she shares some TikTok makeup videos and things like that just to use to cope, because this event has traumatized her so badly. So to help out Cassie, if any of you all know what this could have been, again, she said it was a very dark, tall figure with long arms. Apparently, whatever this thing was seemed to have followed her home.
If you hate tomatoes, kale, or literally anything else, Hungry Lou is
Stupid
Meal kit
ads.
services are
Maybe not physically, but mentally.
Raw head and bloody bones steals awful children from their homes. He takes them to his awful den. They're never, ever seen again. Rawhead and Bloody Bones is maybe the most famous Appalachian haint tale there ever was. And tonight,
Never heard of it.
way back many years ago, there was a young fella named Jasper Watkins. Now, Jasper was cute, Jasper was clever, but the worst part is he knew it. He figured he could outsmart any adult, any child. He just always knew better. He was always out to scheme and steal and cheat. Now, this was before modern conveniences and toys. Back then, kids was happy to have a stick to play with, but Jasper, if somebody had something that he wanted, he'd figure out a way to get it. If kids had a new set of jacks or anything, really, he'd figure out a way to con them or cheat them or get it. There's a fella about his age named Johnson. His papa'd give him a new fiddle. Now, Jasper couldn't play a lick, never touched a fiddle, but something about that, it ran all over him. He wanted that fiddle bad. So he went up to the little Johnson boy and said, "Hey, let's play us some cards for your fiddle." And Johnson boy's like, "No, Jasper, no, I can't play cards. My mommy'd whip me for sure. Plus, if I lost my papa's fiddle, I'd just die." "Oh, let's play us some cards. You'll have fun. I'll bet you $20. $20 was a lot of money back then. Now, Jasper didn't have $20.
Fair.
That little boy didn't know it. Well, the cards were dealt. Sure enough, Jasper cheated. Sure enough, Jasper got a new fiddle. Raw head and bloody bones steals awful children from their homes. He takes them to his awful den. They'll never, ever be seen again. Jasper looked around, and there was some girls jumping rope, chanting that little old nursery rhyme. Now, he didn't pay them much attention. It spooked him a little, but he was too clever to be believing in something like raw head and bloody bones. He started heading home. He got to thinking. Before his pa had died, he told him about raw head and bloody bones. It was a skull scurried along the ground, big bloodshot eyeballs, bones held together by sinew and muscle, show up and pop your eyeballs out and eat them like jelly, grind you up like oatmeal and slurp you down before you could scream. That's just a tale. That wasn't true. Jasper went on home, carrying his new prized fiddle. His mom was at the stove fixing something to eat. She shot him a sideways glance. "Jasper, where'd you get that fiddle?" "Well, Ma, it's mine. I won it." She knew her boy well enough to know something was up with that. She looked at him, just waited. "I did too, win it. I didn't cheat. I didn't do nothing. It's mine." "Jasper, if you lie, raw head and bloody bones are going to come get you." "I don't believe in none of that." "Jasper, raw head and bloody bones are going to show up. He's going to cut your legs off and cook them like a ham, string you up and eat you like beef jerky." "Ma, I don't believe in nothing. I wouldn't never lie, wouldn't never steal, wouldn't never cheat. You ought to feel ashamed to talk to me that way."
Oh crap, I forgot to
Ma
change
just
this.
shook her head. "Raw head and bloody bones steals awful children from their homes. He takes them to his awful den. They're never ever seen again." Jasper had a little chill run up his spine. He looked over, and his baby brother was on a rocking chair, just rocking back and forth, looking at his big brother, grinning. Jasper scurried upstairs, carrying his new fiddle. He pulled it out, got the bow, tried it out, and it sounded like a cat dying, but it didn't stop him. He played for about 5 or 6 good minutes. Every time he'd pull that bow across, it sounded even worse. No matter how hard he tried, he figured he'd be the best thing ever was. He was not. And the more times he tried, the madder he got. Till finally, he got frustrated and took that fiddle and smashed it right on the ground. Shattered into 1,000 pieces. Raw head and bloody bones steals awful children from their homes. I'll take you to my awful den. You'll never ever be seen again. It was at that time Jasper heard it in the dark corner of his room. He heard some shuffling. He turned around, and there it was. There was a skull covered in rotten flesh, eyeballs bulging out, teeth chattering. There was a headless skeleton dancing more than walking, held together with sinew, tissue, covered in blood, headed straight for Jasper. His ma heard him scream, but he was never seen again. Now, I'm 45 years old, but I know well enough now to mind my mommy and daddy. I don't know that Rawhead and Bloody Bones is going to come after me if I don't, but I'm not about to take that chance. Make sure you're minding your ma and pa too. Minding your P's and Q's.
Oh my gosh, wait till you hear this story. It is so creepy. This girl writes, something bad happened while she was camping, but she's not sure what. So about 6 years ago, her and her now ex-boyfriend had decided to go camping. She said the campsite that they picked was beautiful and they were able to come in through some rough trails. She said their campsite was really close to some natural hot springs and a huge waterfall. They were in the middle of nowhere. Absolutely nobody was around. So they set up camp next to the car, went hiking, soaked in the hot springs, enjoyed the waterfall, and eventually came back and made some dinner. She said it all went really well. It was all very normal until they woke up the next day. She wants to give some context to how they fell asleep that night before so that it's easier for everybody to understand. Before they went to bed, she put her food cooler and her stereo that they brought into the back of the car and locked it. She said she put her keys in a small pouch of her backpack, and her backpack was placed at the furthest point away from the door next to her sleeping bag. Her boyfriend was sleeping closest to the door, and he had a pew-pew next to him. Also, you know I have to use that term because I don't want to get banned on here. So anyway, she said that when they woke up, they felt great, they slept real hard, and everything seemed normal from the inside. When they went outside, though, everything was complete chaos. The fire pit that they made was completely torn apart. Their cooler had been thrown and scattered all over the place. And their stereo had been smashed to pieces at the base of a tree. Every single door to the car was open, including the trunk. They both stood there in silence, looking around, taking it all in, and now everything just seemed wrong. She said it was just a mess, and it just seemed too quiet. So her boyfriend then accuses her of not locking the car doors and that some animal must have gotten in. But she swears, no, I locked the door and I put the keys in the book bag next to my sleeping bag. So she goes in to go get the car keys and they're not there. She said she ended up finding them later, laying next to the car on the ground. So they quickly threw everything into the car and just left. And for the longest time, her boyfriend refused to talk to her about what had happened. And then he finally spoke up just before they got home, and he admitted something terrifying. He said that he had a dream that night that something was leaning over him, holding his, staring at him. And when she started to ask more questions about it, he got really weird and just said, I don't want to talk about it, and you shouldn't talk about it either.
What?
She said, I keep trying to forget about it, but I just can't. Something really wrong happened at our campsite that night.
Come out. Come out from behind the tree. I see you. Okay, we gotta go.
Buddy, you better get out.
Alright guys, I've got about a 6-foot hole dug here and we've hit rock, but listen to this.
Okay, so you have to honk your horn and turn your
The
car off.
flip?
So, horn honked, car off.
Oh, that's
When
a
you
good
toss a coin over the bridge on
crybaby
Clinton Road, legend has
pledge
it, the
type of
spirit will
thing.
throw it right back. It's a little boy, and although we don't know much about him, people say that he died in a car accident on Clinton Road, which is 10 miles long, and good luck with cell service. There is none.
I've been speaking on folklores so much, my husband has gained an interest in them. He's been researching different folklores, and he come in the house this morning and said, did you know you're not supposed to whistle in the woods? I said, well, I've heard it, but I don't believe it. He wasn't so sure, so I said, well, have you ever whistled in the woods? He said, yeah. When I've been out deer hunting and the deer are on the move, you can blow out a whistle and they'll stop dead in their tracks. What? So that got me thinking, if a whistle will stop a deer dead in its tracks, what has it seen or heard in the woods to cause it to do that? So, something to think about. Maybe I am a believer, and maybe I will move away from my window for the rest of the night.
Okay, no f***ing joke. I'm loading up wood, and I look up, and this is what I see. Wait for it.
Hey, buddy.
Why does it look like a Yeti?
A Yeti, really.
It's real tall. I'm not down with it. I think it's time to go back inside now.
That wasn't the Yeti. That was something else.
If you enjoyed this video, hit subscribe so I can bring you more content. And until next time.
Now let's watch. Let's go with this one.
Hello everyone, I'm Max, and today I'm here to maximize your fear. Brand new Bigfoot footage that's shocking the world.
Hey!
Today we take a look at new Bigfoot footage and sightings coming from Canada, New York, and many other places with very convincing evidence. From HD Sasquatch trail camera video.
I will be right back, chat.
much more. Also, stay tuned for a
Good
special
back,
crazy
Chip.
nature clip at the end of this video. Trust me, you won't want to miss it. So grab your I Found Bigfoot coffee mugs and allow your fear to be maximized as we dive into the best, new, and clearest Bigfoot footage. So today we have lots of evidence coming from Canada. There have reportedly been a few brand new Bigfoot sightings coming from Ontario, Alberta, and the British Columbia area. And this one here comes from British Columbia. Reportedly, a group of amateur researchers set up trail cameras in a remote area in the forest. They put the cameras up for the sole purpose of tracking and capturing rare wildlife. And they did indeed capture some rare wildlife, but not at all the kind they were expecting. Instead of an elusive known creature, an elusive unknown creature appeared in the shot, a Bigfoot. The quick clip showcases a huge, upright, heavily muscled creature. It rounds the corner and peers at the camera from slightly behind the tree, then it moves back. The subject's movements look super realistic, not like any AI.
That might be little.
Bigfoot researchers are talking most about the muscles and the frame of it. This doesn't look like any person in a suit. You can see its defined muscles specifically in the chest, shoulders, and arm areas. And its face is a perfect example of what Bigfoot is said to look like, a perfect mix between human and primate. Viewers also say that the way it moves seems deliberate. It peers from around the tree, eyes already locked onto the camera, as if it were telling us that it knows it's a camera. Perhaps it was sending the researchers a message, a threat, to remove the camera before something bad happens. The creature doesn't look startled at all. It looks angry and dominant. It seems these researchers may have accidentally placed this camera in a Bigfoot's territory. This is a very dangerous place to be, and I would recommend they take their cameras down immediately. Now, in my recent Bigfoot documentary, I talked about one of the key reasons why science doesn't completely back Bigfoot yet. And that reason is that a body or fossils haven't been recovered of this creature that we know of. However, a person by the name of Snake the Bigfoot Hunter online claims he found a dead Bigfoot, and now he has it on display. All of this information just came out in late March and early April.
See, I seen this video on Facebook.
The caption of one of the videos states, quote, Adirondack Bigfoot or
I think it's
found by
fake.
Snake the Bigfoot Hunter. It's 8 foot and 300 pounds. DNA proves Neanderthal lineage. Verified by the Six Nation Indian tribes of New York. The body has been taxidermied, end quote. So, according to him, 6 Nation Indian tribes of New York have verified it. This includes the Mohawk, Oneida, Tuscarora, Onondaga, Cayuga, and Seneca. And what's even crazier is DNA was sent to Cornell University Veterinarian BioDNA Lab, and
That was real. The government would not let him have that.
This would mean it's a real creature. Now, all of this evidence has just come out, so we should wait for more verification before we jump to any conclusions, but this is pretty groundbreaking. This could be the closest we've been to proving the Sasquatch species is real. But hence the name, the Adirondack Bigfoot. It was found in the Adirondack Mountains, a vast, rugged highland region in northeastern New York, known for their wild forests, quiet lakes, and a long tradition of outdoor exploration. It's a unique mix of public and private land, where small towns and villages exist alongside millions of acres of protected wilderness. This balance gives the area a lived-in feel while preserving huge stretches of untouched nature. So if Bigfoot were to be found anywhere, this could be the place. I'll keep you all updated with this one as the story develops even more. This one is pretty crazy though. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Here is another new Bigfoot video. This one comes from a man named Jacob Abraham, and he states, quote, "I was off the trail the other day when I saw what I thought was a bear. I took out my phone to record it, but while filming, I began to think it was something else. Do you think this could be Bigfoot?" End quote.
I need to grab another drink. Check. Give me a second.
The man films as in the distance, a dark, upright figure walks pretty quickly through the forest. It walks bipedal, like a human, not like a bear like he initially thought. Yes, bears can walk on their hind legs, but they're more hunched and they can't move swiftly like this. Their natural gait is quadrupedal, and they're not typically seen running on their hind legs like this. As this figure walks, it swings its long arms, another typical Bigfoot trait. And even though it was pretty far away from Jacob and he had to film through a bunch of tree branches to even get a glimpse of it, the video is still pretty decent. Now, he didn't state where he took the video, like what state he was in, but he was said to be miles out into the wilderness, a perfect spot for an encounter like this to happen. But what do you guys think? Was this really a Bigfoot walking around out there? Or is it somehow explainable, maybe misidentified wildlife or a person walking around in a suit trying to play pranks? I'm not too sure, so I'm leaving it up to you. So I'm sure you all remember the recent surge in Bigfoot sightings in Ohio. Well, now it's happening in Ontario, Canada. The sightings are so prevalent that they're being covered by big news outlets. Take a listen to what CTV News has to say about the recent encounters.
An organization tracking a mysterious and mythical creature says there have been multiple reports in southwestern Ontario. 3 reported Bigfoot sightings have popped up on the US-based Bigfoot mapping project. A Sasquatch was supposedly seen lurking in these woods in the Chatham-Kent area.
So yes, 3 alleged encounters with Bigfoot-like creatures have come from the area over the past week. This news report was released on April 9th, 2026. Specifically, the sightings come from Thamesville, Dresden, and Raglan. The reportings were consistent with a, quote, large furry being reportedly making stops across the community. So the entire region of North America has been seeing a significant increase in Bigfoot sightings this year, just in the last couple months even. I'll be interested to see how the rest of the year plays out. Will these sightings continue or will they slow down? My guess is they will follow the trend and continue. And I feel like a lot of other weird things have been happening this year too. It's just such a strange year. It seems like every kind of cryptid creature evidence is increasing this year. From visual sightings to videos to photos to practically every kind of evidence you can name. But quickly check out these interviews CTV News did with locals there in Ontario and listen to what they think.
I've heard and seen a lot of odd things, but no, Bigfoot has not been one of them, I'm afraid.
Oh, I think it's silly.
Everything is possible.
The Bigfoot, said to be roaming the woods of southwestern Ontario, is described as 8 feet tall with cinnamon hair.
Definitely some interesting stuff, and I always do my best to keep up with every single Bigfoot sighting that comes out. So to stay up to date with all the newest Bigfoot evidence and even cryptid creature evidence, be sure to subscribe so you don't miss a video. Moving far away from North America, we have a brand new Bigfoot sighting coming in from Malaysia. I don't know if I've ever really heard of a Bigfoot sighting coming from here, but it was just posted on April 18th, 2026. 2 young men were out in a forest when they had this encounter. They spotted something they didn't recognize, so they began recording and hid up in a tree.
That's a person.
video is pretty blurry, but we can still see a dark, upright figure moving through the thick forest. The dark creature seems to know the two men are up in the tree, and it's looking at them. It moves closer and closer to them, maneuvering through the brush. The Sasquatch-like being also looks a little smaller than usual reports, but in Malaysia, stories of a Bigfoot-like creature are often tied to a being called the orang mawas. The name comes from Malay words orang, meaning person, and mawas, referring to a type of ape. So the idea is essentially a forest person. It's part of a wider set of traditions across Southeast Asia about human-like creatures living deep in the jungle. Depictions of the orang vary, but there are some common themes. Witnesses often describe a tall, upright creature covered in dark or reddish hair, sometimes said to be around 6 to 10 feet tall. It's usually reported as walking on two legs with a strong build and long arms, similar in some ways to other wild man legends around the world. Some accounts claim it moves quietly through the forest and avoids people, while others say it can be aggressive or territorial if encountered up close. This one seemed to be a mix of these traits, maybe more curious than anything. But of course, most importantly, what do you guys think about this one? The following is another brand new Bigfoot video. It was just taken on April 11th, 2026. And for this one, we're moving back to Canada, because it's said to be from Alberta. Squatchwatch1 on Instagram states, quote, "A chilling clip captured on mist cam
Excuse me,
shows what
chat.
appears to be a massive upright figure moving through a remote valley in Alberta, Canada, far from any roads
That's
or human
well.
activity." The stride is smooth, almost unnatural, covering ground with ease, end quote. Allegedly, a hiker was up in this remote mountainous region when he spotted the huge figure on the same hill but far away. The creature does certainly resemble a Sasquatch more than anything else. And what's cool about Alberta specifically is when European settlers moved into Alberta in the 1800s, they began exploring. And as the forests were explored and mapped, reports began to shift into something more like modern Bigfoot sightings. Large, hairy, upright creatures seen at a distance, often leaving oversized footprints. Early trappers, hunters, and loggers sometimes told stories of hearing strange calls or finding tracks in remote areas, especially near the foothills of the Rocky Mountains. So Bigfoot isn't just popular today because of mainstream media, but because it stemmed from real encounters from when humans first discovered this land. So do these creatures still live on this land to this day? This new video may prove that this is indeed the case. Here are two instances where Bigfoot was seemingly caught on Google Earth. Google Earth is a program that lets you explore the entire Earth from your screen. Instead of just showing a flat map, it builds a three-dimensional model of Earth using satellite images, aerial photography, and geographic data. You can zoom from a view of the entire globe all the way down to individual streets, buildings, and landscapes. But sometimes strange things appear, things we weren't meant to see. This first case here is more popular.
Since you're already playing games anyway, why not earn some free rewards while you're at it? All you need to do is download Bar.
It shows a TikToker zooming in on Google Maps on his tablet. He then changes to Street View and scrolls over, and there it is. A large brown-haired Bigfoot-like creature is just standing there. It doesn't look much like a costume from what we can tell. It looks very realistic. But the TikToker didn't give out the coordinates of this one. He decided to keep them concealed. But in this next one, the coordinates are
because
revealed
it's
straight
fake.
out. This one comes from western Colorado. The dark, upright figure is mid-stride and measured at around 7 to 7.5 feet. The subject doesn't appear on other satellite images from different years, telling us it was there in real time, and it really couldn't have been a statue or something. Now Google Earth pulls imagery from a mix of different sources and stitches them together into one seamless view of the planet. Images come from a combination of satellites operated by private companies and governments, aerial photography, and Google Street View cars. Once all these images are collected, Google processes them using software that aligns, blends, and corrects them. So these images are not anomalies, not glitches in the system. They were captured there in real time. The first one was likely taken by a Street View car because it was in the Street View, and the second one was likely taken by aerial photography or satellite imagery. It seems we weren't meant to see certain parts of the world. With all this technology nowadays, we're bound to run into strange things like this. Alright, today's nature clip is a very close-up and crazy one. A hunter named Carson Bender was out hunting on April 18th, 2026. As he was lying in wait for his prey, he became the prey of a stealthy, predatory animal. He states, quote, "Found out I'm good at calling cats and turkeys. I missed a bird 3 minutes later at 35 yards, then headed to the doc's office. Just a few scratches on the shoulder," end quote. He films the bobcat for a little under a minute and a half, then it finally pounces. It runs up close and swats at him, striking his shoulder. Luckily, it wasn't feeling super mean because this could have went way worse. These
He
wild
should have
cats, even
popped
though they're
that
smaller,
thing.
can inflict lots of damage. But luckily the man was okay and the cat retreated right after this. This is such a cool video though. I'd say it's worth a couple of scratches. Bobcat attacks on humans are extremely rare, but they do happen occasionally. They're usually shy, solitary, and avoid people whenever possible, which is why most people never even see one in the wild. Most reported incidents are brief and not fatal. A bobcat might lunge, scratch, or bite, then quickly retreat. Because they're relatively small compared to animals like mountain lions, they don't typically pose the same level of danger. However, they are still strong, fast, and equipped with sharp claws and teeth, so injuries can happen. In general, a healthy bobcat will avoid confrontation. If someone does encounter one behaving aggressively, wild experts recommend backing away slowly, making yourself look larger, and avoid turning your back or running. So maybe this video will save someone's life one day. You're also supposed to apply similar behavior if you ever run into a mountain lion or any other kind of larger wildcat. Never turn your backs on these animals because they're quick, stealthy, and stronger than you'd think. Alright, I think that's going to be it for today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed, and if you did enjoy, go ahead and smash the like button's mom. Let's aim for 5,000 likes for another one of these Bigfoot videos. And if you want to get to know me more, you want to see more...
Let's watch. Let's go with this one. That guy.
Oh, there he goes.
Hello everyone, I'm Max, and today I'm here to maximize your fear. There are few mysteries as enduring and divisive as the Bigfoot legend. Known by many names, Sasquatch in North America, Yeti in the Himalayas, and Almas in Central Asia, the idea of a large human-like creature living just beyond the edges of civilization has persisted for centuries. Despite a lack of definitive scientific proof, belief in Bigfoot remains widespread. To understand why, we first have to go back to the very beginning. Today I will be giving you a very in-depth look of how Bigfoot came to be, some of the most prevalent and believable sightings, and every detailed reason why millions still believe in this creature to this day. So grab your I Found Bigfoot coffee mugs and allow your fear to be maximized as we dive into the first chapter. Chapter 1. Before Bigfoot had a name. Long before the term Bigfoot entered modern vocabulary, indigenous tribes in North America told stories of wild, hairy giants that lived in the forest. These weren't just casual myths, they were deeply embedded in cultural traditions. Among the tribes in the Pacific Northwest, such as the Salish peoples, stories described a being called Sasquatch, a large, powerful forest dweller. These accounts often portrayed the creature as intelligent, sometimes dangerous, but not purely animalistic. Importantly, these stories existed long before European settlers arrived. For many believers today, this is one of the strongest arguments. The legend did not begin as a hoax or modern invention. It was already there, rooted in oral history. Chapter 2. The first modern sightings. The transition from legend to modern phenomenon began in the 19th and 20th centuries. Reports started appearing in newspapers describing encounters with wild men or ape-like creatures. One of the earliest cases occurred in 1924 in Washington state. It's known as the Ape Canyon incident. A group of miners claimed they were attacked at night by a large, unseen creature that hurled rocks at their cabin. The story takes place near Mount St. Helens, specifically in the summer of 1924. At the time, the region was rugged, remote, and largely unexplored. Dense forests, steep ridges, and deep canyons made it the perfect place for miners looking to strike it rich, and the perfect setting for something unknown.
Do that!
A group of gold prospectors had set up camp in the area. Among them were several men working claims in a canyon that would later become known as Ape Canyon. According to the miners, the strange events began when one of them spotted a large human-like figure moving along a ridge. He described it as tall, covered in hair, and walking upright. Believing it might be a threat or possibly just reacting out of fear, the miner reportedly fired his rifle at the figure. The creature either disappeared into the trees or fell out of sight. At the time, they weren't entirely sure what they had seen, but things escalated quickly. That same night, the miners claimed their small cabin came under siege. As darkness settled in, they began hearing noises outside. Heavy footsteps, movement in the brush, and what they described as high-pitched noises echoing through the night. Then came the rocks. Large stones were allegedly hurled at the cabin from different directions. The impacts were powerful enough to shake the structure. The miners later said the rocks weren't just falling, they were being thrown with force and intent. Inside, the men panicked. Armed with rifles, they waited through the night, occasionally firing shots into the darkness in hopes of scaring off whatever surrounded them. They claimed the attack lasted for hours, but when daylight finally came, the miners cautiously stepped outside. According to their account, they found evidence that something had been there, disturbed ground, possible tracks, and scattered rocks that hadn't been seen before. Shaken and convinced they had encountered something dangerous, the group abandoned the area shortly afterward. The story spread quickly as they returned to civilization. Stories like this captured public imagination, but then came the moment that would define Bigfoot for generations. Chapter 3. The footprints that changed everything. In 1958, construction workers in Northern California discovered
I thought this was sightings.
TikTok user Haunted Detective shared a photo taken by a friend who was walking several dogs along a hiking trail. At first glance, everything seemed normal, just a quiet trail high on the mountain. When the uploader zoomed in on the background, something unsettling
Oh, excuse me,
A
chat.
pale-faced figure with dark hair peeked out from behind a wall. She seemed to be wearing a dull, worn-out dress, clothing that looked centuries old, completely out of place in the modern day. The only people there at the time were the person in the photo and the person taking it. Viewers immediately speculated whether it could be a ghost, perhaps someone who had died in that very area long ago. The location of the photo remains undisclosed, leaving the identity of the mysterious woman unknown. A Reddit user was camping near Glengar when he decided to explore the area surrounding his campsite. While walking along a nearby path, he came across an old gate. As he got closer, he noticed several small dolls hanging from it, with ropes around their necks. The strange display immediately gave him a bad feeling. He began wondering if it was meant to be some kind of art project, a prank to scare people, or possibly a warning meant to keep strangers away. Not wanting to risk finding out who put them there, the camper decided it was best to leave the area. A TikTok user named Ben.
Chat. It's gonna be it for tonight. Hope you have a blessed night. God bless y'all.